Previously, we saw a coin that was lost and a woman searching, and a sheep that was lost and a shepherd searching. Now, both of these things have value. A coin has intrinsic value, and the sheep was a commodity for the shepherd, so it was valuable to him. But in today's parable, a man's lost his son. What could be more heartbreaking than losing a member of your family? A UK charity found that 1 in 5 UK families are affected by estrangement, and 60% of those surveyed said that they would like to have a relationship with the person to whom they're estranged at some point in the future. Now, there are many barriers to reconciliation, but I would say probably the biggest barrier is the other person. Because you might want a relationship with every fibre of your being, but if they don't want a relationship, it's not going to happen. Now, this is an additional angle on us being lost that isn't in the parable of the coin or the sheep. The coin played no part in it being lost. The sheep wandered away, but it was part of its innate nature. But in this story, a man has 2 sons, and the younger son says to his father, you know, when you die, half of all that you own is going to come to me, and I would rather have it now. So the father divides all that he has and gives half to his son. And the son goes away into a far country and squanders all the money, living what we might call the high life. Now, what this tells us is that our separation from God is a conscious choice that we've made. We don't want God in our lives. We don't want his rules and restrictions. We don't want his idea of what makes us happy. We want to live our own life, to be our own man, to make our own decisions. So how did that work out for the son? Well, he spent all the money and there was a recession in the country, so the only job he could get was feeding pigs, and he was so hungry that he would have eaten the pig's food. But just think about that. We think we're living the best life. We think we're having a great time. But God says, this life is beneath you. I've got something so much better for you. Just as the son made a choice to leave, he also made a daily choice to stay put. The coin, remember, was inanimate and didn't even know it was lost, but the son knew that he was lost, that he was separated from the Father, just as God's Spirit has shone in our hearts and made us aware of our condition. The problem for the sheep was, though it knew it was lost, there was no way back, but the son knew that there was a route back to the Father, just as Jesus' death has created a way back to God for us. The son's different from the coin and the sheep, in that he could have gone back any time he wanted. He just didn't want to. How is God pictured in this parable? In the lost coin, he's searching out dark places. In the lost sheep, he's the shepherd going into danger to retrieve the sheep. But here he's just waiting. Could he not go into the far country? Could he not find the son, pull him out of that pigsty and drag him home? That's not how relationships work, is it? All he can do is wait. When the son comes home, he's going to embrace him. He's going to take those rags off him and put a coat on him. He's going to restore his position as son and give him back his dignity. But the son needs to come home. So all the father can do is wait. Then one day, a memorable day for both the father and the son, I'm sure, the son's sitting amongst the pigs and he thinks to himself, there's a better life for me and I know the way to that better life. And he makes a choice. He says, I'm going to return to the father. And the father is waiting for him and the father is watching. I wonder how many days the father sat by the window watching to see if his son would return home. But then on this day, he sees him, a speck in the distance, and he runs to meet him. Now the son's not expecting very much. He's actually just going to ask the father for a job. Can I just work for you? But the father gives him more than he could ever have imagined. And that's like God, who's willing to give us more than we can even dream of. There's another character in the story, an older brother. Now remember the context of this story. Religious leaders are criticizing Jesus for spending time with people who they consider to be sinners. And Jesus says to them, there's another son. And he didn't go away to the far country. He's in the field. He's not in the father's house, but he's closer to the father than the younger son. And when the younger son returns home and they celebrate his return, this older son is angry. He says, you've never thrown a party for me. He says, I've stayed close to you all this time, but I've never enjoyed a minute of it. It's not brought me any happiness. It's clear who the older brother represents in this story. He represents those who have never immersed themselves in a life of sin and therefore think that they're okay, they've got no problems. But look at the story again. The older brother never enters the father's house. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video on the lost son. I hope that whether you're the older son in the field or the younger son in the far country, that you realise that if you're to be reconciled to God, that you've got a choice to make, a choice to return. But know this, that when you return, the Father is waiting to embrace you.